Imagine walking into a crime scene where something terrible has clearly happened. Furniture is overturned. A window is shattered. There are signs of a struggle. Yet when investigators begin their work, they discover something impossible. No fingerprints. No DNA.
No footprints. No weapon. No witnesses.
Nothing. It is as if the criminal never existed. But every crime leaves a story behind. Every action creates a consequence. And every mystery, no matter how perfect it appears, hides a truth waiting to be uncovered. Tonight, we dive into one of the most chilling mysteries imaginable, a crime scene with zero evidence left behind. A case that challenged detectives, frustrated forensic experts, and left an entire community searching for answers. Welcome back to CaseVanta. This story begins in a quiet suburban neighborhood where life moved at a predictable pace. Families knew each other. Children played outside until sunset. The biggest concern most residents had was whether it would rain over the weekend. Nothing about this neighborhood suggested it would soon become the center of a mystery that would captivate investigators for years. On an ordinary Tuesday morning, a woman named Sarah Mitchell failed to arrive at work. At first, nobody thought much of it. People miss work for countless reasons. Perhaps she was sick. Maybe her alarm failed to go off. But as the hours passed, concern began to grow. Sarah was known for being extremely reliable. She rarely missed appointments. She always answered her phone. Friends described her as organized and responsible. When repeated calls went unanswered, her manager contacted her family. By evening, Sarah's brother decided to visit her house. What he discovered would change everything. The front door was slightly open. The lights inside were still on. Sarah's car remained parked in the driveway. But Sarah was nowhere to be found. As he stepped inside, an unsettling silence filled the house. The living room appeared disturbed. A lamp had been knocked over. A chair was lying on its side. A picture frame had shattered on the floor. It looked like a struggle had taken place. Yet there was no blood. No obvious signs of injury. And no sign of Sarah. Police arrived shortly afterward and secured the scene. Initially, detectives assumed they were dealing with a standard missing person case. However, as forensic teams began examining the house, strange details emerged. The first surprise came from fingerprint analysis. Investigators expected to find hundreds of prints throughout the home. After all, people touch countless surfaces every day. But many critical surfaces appeared completely clean. Door handles, light switches, kitchen counters, tables, windows. The absence of usable fingerprints immediately raised questions. Then came the second surprise. No DNA evidence. No hair strands. No skin cells. No fibers that could be connected to an unknown individual. Forensic experts were stunned. Even the most careful criminals usually leave something behind. A single hair. A drop of sweat. A partial fingerprint. Something. But here, there was virtually nothing. Detectives expanded their investigation. Neighbors were interviewed. Security cameras from nearby businesses were reviewed. Phone records were analyzed. Yet every lead seemed to disappear as quickly as it appeared. One neighbor reported hearing a loud noise around midnight. Another believed they saw a dark vehicle parked nearby. A third thought they heard voices. None of these accounts could be verified. The clues contradicted each other. The mystery deepened. As days turned into weeks, investigators began considering a disturbing possibility. What if the person responsible had planned everything in advance? What if this was not a crime of passion or an impulsive act? What if they had spent weeks, or even months, preparing to leave no trace behind? The theory seemed extreme. Yet the evidence, or rather, the lack of evidence, pointed in that direction. Forensic specialists revisited the scene multiple times. Advanced techniques were employed. Chemical testing. Alternate light sources. Microscopic analysis. Digital reconstruction. Every available tool was used. Still, nothing significant emerged. The case became a nightmare for investigators. Public interest exploded. News stations covered the story continuously. Experts debated theories. Internet forums filled with speculation. Some believed Sarah had staged her own disappearance. Others suspected organized criminals. A few even proposed bizarre conspiracy theories. But detectives remained focused on facts. And the facts were frustratingly scarce. Then, nearly 2 months after Sarah vanished, a small breakthrough occurred. Investigators examining traffic camera footage noticed a vehicle traveling through the area during the estimated time frame of the disappearance. The image quality was poor. The license plate could not be identified. But the vehicle appeared unusual. It was a dark-colored van with no visible markings. The footage provided a possible lead. Unfortunately, it also created new problems. Thousands of similar vehicles existed within driving distance. Tracking down one specific van proved nearly impossible. Investigators spent weeks reviewing registrations and ownership records. The effort produced no definitive results. Meanwhile, Sarah remained missing. Her bank account showed no activity. Her phone remained offline. There was no evidence she had voluntarily left. Everything suggested something had happened inside the house. But proving it was another matter entirely. Months passed. Pressure on law enforcement increased. The public demanded answers. Sarah's family pleaded for information. Yet detectives had little to offer. Then an unexpected discovery shifted the investigation. A forensic analyst reviewing digital evidence noticed unusual activity involving Sarah's home internet connection. At first glance, it appeared insignificant. But a deeper examination revealed that several connected devices had been remotely accessed shortly before her disappearance. This finding introduced a new possibility. Someone may have been monitoring her. Someone with technical knowledge. Someone capable of planning carefully. Investigators began exploring cybercrime angles. Digital footprints were analyzed. Online interactions were reviewed. Hidden accounts were uncovered. Slowly, a picture began to form. Sarah had recently become involved in a legal dispute involving sensitive financial information. She possessed documents that could potentially damage powerful individuals. Could this connection explain her disappearance? Or was it merely a coincidence? Detectives pursued every lead. Yet once again, evidence remained elusive. Witnesses offered conflicting statements. Potential suspects possessed alibis. Documents vanished. Records disappeared. Each step forward seemed to trigger 2 steps backward. Years later, retired investigators would describe the case as one of the most frustrating of their careers. Not because they lacked motivation. Not because they lacked resources. But because every traditional investigative method encountered a dead end. The crime scene appeared designed to defeat forensic science itself. Yet some experts believe perfection is impossible. No criminal can eliminate every trace. No matter how careful they are, human beings make mistakes. The challenge lies in finding those mistakes. Some investigators continue to believe the answer remains hidden within the original crime scene. Perhaps a tiny detail was overlooked. Perhaps a piece of evidence was misunderstood. Perhaps technology that does not yet exist will someday reveal what current methods cannot. For Sarah's family, hope remains alive. They continue searching for answers. They continue asking questions. And they continue waiting for the day when someone finally explains what happened inside their house. Because despite the mystery, despite the missing evidence, despite years of uncertainty, one fact remains undeniable. Sarah vanished. And people do not simply disappear without a reason. Somewhere, someone knows the truth. Somewhere, the missing piece of the puzzle exists. And someday, whether through science, chance, or confession, that truth may finally emerge from the shadows. Until then, the case remains one of the most haunting examples of a crime scene with zero evidence left behind. A reminder that even in an age of advanced technology, some mysteries continue to challenge everything we think we know about crime and investigation. Thank you for watching CaseVanta. If this story kept you thinking, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another mystery. Share your theories in the comments below, because sometimes the most important clue comes from a perspective nobody considered before. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep searching for the truth with CaseVanta.